Hey guys, and welcome to this respawn. Today we are on Madness Monday, which will become a thing eventually once we get our weekly schedule out. And so we are on the World of Madness server. Yay! And it's been a while since we've been here, prior to the wedding. And I've been on the server since then, and it was really cool. We came back and we found that the amazing members of the WOM server had created a little house for us to come back to, which was amazing, and it's so beautiful, and it's where we've lived now. So I can link some videos in the description of them building it. It looks like a really hard process. It took infinitely long just to make this right here, just because we're not in the latest snapshot yet, and so you can't just silk touch this. Ignore the vines everywhere. I'm collecting vines for a project I'm doing. Anyway, what I thought I'd do today I thought I'd do today is it's been a while since I've just kind of done a thing where I go mining, do some mining exploration, and just kind of sort of story time with you guys. I have a kind of a fun story from this weekend at work, and I thought I would tell it to you. So I thought I'd just kind of go explore some caves and see what I can find. I'm really low on resources such as coal and stuff, which is bad because I'm using stone brick. So I have to... Doesn't look like there's anything in this cave. I had another cave planned out, but I just saw this one. So anyway, I need to get stone brick, but I don't have any coal to cook up the stone. So that's been great. And I don't want to use my silk touch just to get stone. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find some more coal and stuff like that. That'd be great. So I guess I'm gonna call this episode Retails, like R-E-T-A-L-E-S, because this story that I'm gonna tell you is something that happened at work. If you guys didn't know, I work part-time retail at a semi-large office supply store that's in the United States, and I do that because I do that because I'm needing to pay for working, for going to school. It's not something I plan to do for my entire lifetime, but it pays the bills while I'm finishing up my master's degree. So I was at work this weekend, and this guy came in, and he was kind of shady, and I had seen him before, and he had done stuff that I had seen was kind of fraudish. He had brought up a bag of stuff, like a bag of just random stuff, and it was just like, tell me if you can return any of this, which is not usually how people who need to make an actual return, usually they're like, hey, I got this stuff on Wednesday and I need to return it, and it's not like, hey, I've got this bag full of stuff, can you return any of this? So it was kind of like a tip off. And so I had seen him earlier that week, and one of the cashiers at the time, because I'm not traditionally a cashier, had been like, yeah, we can try to return stuff for you. And so he had gotten like $150, $160 on a gift card for the store. He got a gift card instead of cash, because as soon as I got involved with it, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to give you cash back for this. Nope, that's not going to happen. But I'll give you a gift card, since my cashier already said we'd return it. So the other day, it wasn't yesterday, I thought it was yesterday, I was in there, and I had switched shifts so that I could spend more time with Prothy. I had a night shift, and I wanted to get a morning shift because Prothy works until 5 p.m. So I got a morning shift so I could be off work before he gets home. And so I switched shifts, but that required that I switch shifts into being a cashier rather than the department I usually work in. So I was up at the registers, and I noticed this guy came in again, the guy from earlier. And so he did, but the one thing I noticed is that instead of coming from the door, which is how normal people return things, like walked in the door and then go up to the registers, he came from in the middle of the store. Like, he had been out in the store, and then he came up to the front, and he's like, can I return this stuff? Return whatever you can. Shh, Skelly, it's okay. I need your bones. Can I return stuff? I'll return, can I return whatever you can? No! Ow, 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 ow. Rude. I wanted that coal. Return whatever you can. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll let me see here. And so there's this rule at our business that you can only return certain amount of items without a receipt on your driver's license and like it keeps track of that. So as soon as I asked him for his driver's license to do the return, it flared up on the machine. Baby zombie chicken! No! No! Ha. Yeah, you're gonna die too. You were aiding and abetting. So his driver's license flared up and said that he wasn't allowed to return it. And he's just like, I've never heard of a rule like that. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's how our company operates. I'm not going to be able to return this today. He's like, fine, I'll come back later. And so he went out to the floor and he picked up, because he still had that $150 gift card from the other day, he picked up some headphones. And he came up and he bought them with his gift card. So probably like 30, and then he left. So, but then like 30 minutes later, we get a call from a store across a street that just sells ink cartridges. That's it. That's all they sell. They're not like a retailer. They just sell ink cartridges. And they're like, so he came over here to try to return headphones. He had a bag that was from your store. I think he's headed your way. And we're like, okay, we know who you're talking about. We'll take care of it. And so he came back into our store and used the remainder of his gift card to buy ink cartridges. And so I went ahead and I gave the other store a call back and was just like, hey guys, so he came in here and he purchased ink cartridges. I'm pretty sure he's on his way back to you. And they're like, okay, well, we've already know who he is. We'll just tell him to leave when he gets here. And I was like, okay, that's great. So we get a call back from them a little while later. And they're like, yeah, he came back in here. He was saying that his grandma or something had bought the ink cartridges and he needed to return them. And they're just pretty much like, dude, I know you just bought them from across the street. We're not stupid. You need to leave. And so he left. But then the lady at the other store called the cops to get them involved. And so the police officer showed up at our store and was like, hey, they thought he might be coming this way. So have you seen him? And I'm like, no, we've been keeping a pretty good eye out for him. So he's definitely not in the store right now. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the store across the street. I'm going to get the story from them. And then I'll come back and I'll get your guys' story. I'm like, cool. And so he left and he was gone for about half an hour and he came back. And so he was waiting for my manager to get off of the register so that because we had gotten pretty busy at the time. And so the police officer standing up front by the front door waiting for the manager to get off so he could talk to him. And all of a sudden, one of our tech guy goes, hey, that guy from earlier, the fraud guy, yeah, he's standing outside. And so, like, we're sitting there, like, police officers standing there. Police officers standing there and just, like, we're just like, dude, he's outside. And so he ran outside and he got the guy. Unfortunately, because none of us saw him steal anything, like, it was just a hunch type thing. We couldn't actually charge him with anything. However, he has now been banned from both properties. And so if he as soon as he enters our property one more time, we can call the cops, and then he gets charged for theft, actually. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. Actually, forgot a part of the story. Now that I think about it. So after he purchased, I guess I'll throw down a crafting table and make a furnace real quick. After he bought the headphones from us the first time, I almost forgot about this part. So he left the store and we were kind of like joking about it, like, you know, hey, we managed to stop this guy, that's cool and stuff. And then my manager's like, well, there's a possibility he might come back like later today or tomorrow with the receipt ripped in half, so it doesn't show that he used a gift card, so it looks like and then say that he purchased with cash and he wants cash back. And so we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just kind of warn the staff ahead of time, like, you know, I'm sure he won't come back in anytime soon because we're all here, we're all kind of on to him, kind of thing. I'm not even kidding. Literally 5 minutes later, we're not even done talking about him, he walks into the store with the receipt torn up, like the manager said, He walks in the store with the receipt torn up and is just like, hey, I need to return this. I paid for it with cash and I want my cash back. And to which we were just like, no, you were just in here 5 minutes ago. You paid for this with gift card. And then he goes, oh, this is a different one. I purchased this at a different time. This is one I'm returning. And to it was really kind of funny because we're like, because the part when he ripped the receipt, he ripped off the part that said that he purchased it with a gift card. However, right at the top of the receipt is a date stamp, a time stamp, and what the cashier was. So it said my employee number on it. And so we're like, really now? And then he's just like, well, I guess I won't return, because we're like, well, we can return it, but we're only going to return it for gift card. He's like, well, I guess I won't return it. And that's when he went to the ink cartridge place across the street. But I was just like, really? How silly do you gotta be like, I'm gonna go back not even 5 minutes later and return this, and I don't think they'll notice. I have a feeling someone was needing to pay their drug dealer today. I think I might make another pickaxe and then I'll move on. I'll finish up this coal and then I'll move on. So yeah, so that was so entertaining. It was probably one of the most entertaining days of work that I've ever done. I think the only other day that's been more entertaining is this one day a gentleman came in and he was carrying a backpack. And so a lot of the customers who carry a backpack into the store ask if they can store it up front because, you know, it's heavy and stuff. So we have a spot up front where we store people's backpacks while they're shopping in the store. And so this gentleman comes in, he asks if he can store his backpack. He puts his backpack down and then he goes out into the store. We've had issues with him in the past, so the managers are just like, you know, keep an extra eye on him, make sure he's not doing anything. So the employees watch him as he picks up a backpack that we sell and stuffs some ink into it. Like some pretty expensive ink too. And so he stuffs some ink into it and then is kind of carrying it around for a while. Well, we're not allowed to actually stop anyone when they're stealing stuff. The only thing that we can do is just bother the hell out of them. Just be like, hey, can I help you with anything? And then as soon as the next we tag team them. We're like, hey, can I help you with anything? Okay, you're good? Okay, fine. Give them 5 seconds and we'll have somebody else go up and be like, hey, can I help you with anything? And just bother them until they leave. It works, actually. You'd be surprised because they can't get away with doing anything bad if we're always on top of them. So we were doing that and he kind of sort of caught the drift that we were like onto him. And so he put down the backpack back where he found it, to which we pulled it out later and he had the ink and a couple of other things in it. So he put the backpack back where he found it. We figured that he was planting it either for himself or someone else later to come back and pick up, thinking that maybe we hadn't watched him do it and that he would just tell someone later and then they come back when the heat wasn't so much on him. But yeah, so we placed the backpack, we took care of it, we put everything back where it's supposed to go, and then he left without his own backpack, didn't take it with him. And so we're sitting there and we're like, well, what do we do with this backpack here? And so my manager's just like, well, I mean, it wouldn't be a problem for us to look and see what's in the backpack in order to, you know, see if we can find his contact information in order to call him and tell him he left his backpack here. We're like, okay, that's sneaky. You just want to look in his backpack, but I get it. But yeah, that works. Okay. So we open up his backpack and we're talking, he had lockpicking kit. He had like crowbar in there. He had a bunch of like theft looking items. In addition to the theft looking items, he also had, oh, that was not smart. No, it wasn't smart either. He also had drugs, like needles, a whole bunch of paraphernalia everywhere, like bags of drugs, and he just left them with us. So it was kind of funny because we're just like, it was just us and it was me and like a junior manager. Like we didn't have like our store manager or anyone on duty at the time. And so we're just like, so we call our store manager. We're like, what do we do in this situation? Like, what do you do in this situation? And he's just like, okay, I'll be there soon. I'll go ahead and I'll call the cops. I'll take care of this for you guys. And we're like, thank you so much. And so he called the cops. And the cops were taking a little while to get there. And so in the meanwhile, we put the backpack back in the store manager's office for safekeeping, pretty much. So we put the backpack back in the manager's office. In the meanwhile, while we're waiting for the manager and the police to show up, the guy comes back in. And he's just like, I left my backpack here. And we're like, oh yeah, we noticed you left your backpack here. We were wanting to make sure it didn't get stolen, so we put it back in the back office. It's locked up right now. I can go back there and I can get it for you and bring it up to you. To which the guy's just like, no, I will be back in 10 minutes. Just have it up here and ready for me. And we're just like, okay. So he leaves the store. So 10 minutes later, the manager showed up, but the police haven't yet. And so he comes back in. Of course, we haven't put his backpack up front yet because, I mean, we're not going to just give it back to him. So we're just like, well, we've still got it in the back. We haven't had a chance to go back and get it yet. You can just wait here and we can come get it. We're hoping to stall long enough and he's like, no, just have it up here next time. And so, honestly, unfortunately, the story kind of ends there. I mean, the police came in, they got the backpack, they got the description of the guy, but we never saw him again. He never came in again. I don't know exactly what happened to that case, but dude, those were some of the most exciting days that I've ever had at work. They were just so entertaining. But I think that's enough retails for today. So thank you for joining me in this caving scenario. I got an ender pearl, lots of coal, which is what I was looking for, and some iron, which will be good because I didn't have much iron before. And so that helps me out quite a bit. I'm not really looking for diamonds right now, so I'm more focused on building than I am creating armor sets. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it time of death. I'll see you guys next respawn.